ಈಸಿ ಹತ್ತಿರ
ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು
ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಲ. Very good morning, dear students. Hope all of you are doing well during this pandemic situation. And as you are aware and remember, we have completed the epidemiology chapter and followed by screening test, which is very, very crucial. Exam point of view, you have to brush up in detail. Don't neglect that particular topics. In continuation with the other chapters in community medicine, after screening test, we are supposed to discuss a very crucial topic, that is occupational health. It looks simpler and very easy, and you feel like you are aware of majority of the things related to occupational health, which is not so. So we'll have a brief introduction and other things related to occupational health, hazards, how to prevent occupational diseases, laws, acts related to occupational health, all the things in coming classes. Today we will discuss in detail about occupational health, starting with introduction. We need to remember this important person contribution, that is Bernardino Ramazzini, the father of occupational medicine. Father of occupational medicine. See, whenever you look into any of the contributors in any field, they sacrificed and they played an important role in that particular field. So history plays important role. When it comes to occupational health, Italy-based Bernardino Ramazzini's contribution was crucial. That is, during 18th century, he was into working environment, hazards and illness. He has contributed enormously, physically visiting working places, observing what are the difficulties that workforce faced during that particular working environment and illnesses they have come across. So his contribution played a big role. That's why we named him as father of occupational medicine. When it comes to who contributed in India related to occupational health, there are big list we are having in front of us, but we need to remember Kamala V. Nimbarkar contribution in occupational therapy concept in India. You need to remember that is during 1950s after independence, and you need to remember KEM Hospital Mumbai is the one set and target and contributed enormously in occupational health indirectly through occupational therapy concept and establishment of occupational therapy in KEM Hospital Mumbai. And we are having a number of institutions, NGOs, Government of India, international organizations like ILO contributing enormously for this occupational health in developing countries like India. And when it comes to magnitude problem, I am not going in detail. So nearly around 100 million injuries have been reported globally with respect to various occupations. So when it When we think about contribution of India, so we can say around 15 to 70% of global burden was from India with respect to occupational injuries or hazards. Being a developing countries, as all of you are aware, nearly 70% of the population in India living in rural area, and agriculture is the main dependency or occupation in India. Considering these factors, we need to focus on occupational health, hazard, occupational diseases, how to prevent in India during present scenario also. So we need to focus on what do you mean by occupational health, is there any particular definition and all other things. So here, before talking about occupational health, there are some of the terminologies we need to remember, something like industrial hygiene, industrial health. All these terminologies are coming in between occupational health. So if you go in depth, we'll have workforce, factories, and even different industries, different occupation, etc. Considering all those things under one roof, we can consider as occupational health. So in this context, considering whether it is occupational health or industrial health or industrial hygiene, modern occupational health includes commercial enterprises to various organizations, including agricultural setup. As I have mentioned, India depending on agricultural sector. Now I can mention it as agriculture industry because of using various technologies. So when it comes to occupational health definition or meaning, you need to remember that particular word, health. Hope all of you are aware what is the definition of health according to WHO. Considering that, you need to expand or remembering that particular definition, you have to adapt that concept into occupational health also, like adolescent health, school health, geriatric health, which I have mentioned during earlier classes and repeating it now also. So when you think about occupational health, remember WHO definition of health and try to adapt that particular concept into particular occupation. So that is occupational health basis. So here the two words we can see, ILO and WHO. I think WHO, all of you are aware, that is World Health Organization International setup, and ILO is related to occupation, workforce, that is International Labour Organization, ILO. So these are important new terminology, and with respect to ILO, WHO, UNICEF, Indian Red Cross, all the things will be dealt under International Health chapter later. Kindly, you need to remember contribution of ILO and WHO in this particular chapter, that is occupational health. Let us move on to what is the definition, or you can see meaning of occupational. How to understand this particular occupational health? The promotion and maintenance of the highest degree of physical, mental and social well-being of workers in all occupations, that is total health of all at work. I repeat, the promotion and maintenance of the highest degree of physical, mental and social well-being of workers in all occupations is the meaning or definition of occupational health. So coming back to important terminology in occupational health, which is crucial in exam point of view, ergonomics. ERGONOMICS, ergonomics. It is an integral part of any advanced occupational health services. It explains something like fitting the job to the worker, training in machines, tools, or maybe process, environment, layout of workforce, or methods used, all these plays important role. And it plays an important role in reducing mortality and morbidity related to occupational hazards. Okay, so that particular word, adjustment of man and machine, this is plays important role. We are going to discuss further. Application of human biological sensors with engineering science to achieve optimum mutual adjustment of man and his work environment. And benefits are being measured in terms of human efficiency and well-being. So, efficiency, well-being are measured when you understood ergonomics concept. So, coming back to meaning of ergonomics, it is from Greek word ergon means work. Normos means law. There is nothing but fitting the job to the workers. Don't forget this. This is important exam point of view. And when you think about occupational environment, we are having various concern about this occupational environment. Man and man, man and machine, man and surrounding environment. That is agent. When you think about agents, you need to remember epidemiological triad under that particular concept of disease causing agents. So same thing is applicable here also. That is physical, biological, chemical and other agents contributing for occupational environment, which influences or plays important role in maintaining occupational health. So coming back to man and man, there is a relationship between top to bottom, all working in that particular workforce is crucial. So employee and employer relationship also plays an important role in this particular occupational environment. That is usually even physical or chemical or biological agents contributing for man and agents. What your third point is mentioning, same thing indirectly contributes for man and man also. So here this man and man, human relations with subordinates, type, or even social security, satisfaction, commitment, coordination, communication, calmness, flexibility, how to cope the situation, So many factors contribute to when you think about man and man concept in occupational environment. Coming back to man and machine, this is quite important. Depending on occupation, type of occupation, quality, type of machine used, maintenance, this is crucial, and what are the precautions has to be taken during that particular time, and duration of work with respect to that particular working environment, considering that particular machine plays important role. So these are a brief about man and machine. These are the three external conditions or contributors for occupational environment. We need to give priority for this. Third one is man and agents. As I mentioned, physical like heat, cold, humidity, and what are the facilities available depending on occupation plays important role. Even like chemicals, dust, gases plays important role. Even biological agents also plays important role. We are going to discuss about all those things in later. So coming back to what do you mean by occupation hazard? It is a source or situation with a potential for harm in terms of injury or death, damage to property, damage to the workplace environment, or a combination of these. So here very very important is, in addition to injury or ill health, we need to consider other aspects, that is damage to the property or workplace environment. We can give n number of examples. Just you can remember last 6 months or 1 year what you have come across. with respect to this, even during this pandemic also, that is important. When you think about occupational hazard, we need to consider once again concept of occupational health. So we need to think about the domestic environment as well as occupational environment, which are depends on each other. Say example, almost 8 hours per day we are spending in particular work or occupation. Nearly 1/3 of this particular day, which contributes a huge, enormous role in occupational health, depending on that particular occupation. So these are some of the occupational health hazards. We are having different types: physical, chemical, mechanical, biological, and psychological. These are the different types of occupational hazards. Let us have a discussion of each in detail. So when you think about physical hazards, temperature, like heat and cold, plays an important role. Illumination, that is light, noise, vibration, different radiations, even atmospheric pressure plays an important role in occupational hazard. So we are discussing about physical hazards. So when we come back to this particular first one, that is temperature, heat and cold, industries will have a certain hot spots which radiates some of the harmful effects, that is with respect to heat or with respect to cold. It influences on health and efficiency also. So when it comes to heat, we are having radiant types in steel or glass industry. We are having heat stagnation in jute and cotton, textile industry. These are some examples. When you think about the temperature, we are not having the standard guidelines or norms. Anyhow, ideal or comfort zone when it comes to temperature, we can consider around 22 to 27 degrees Celsius. We can see in some, say example in polar gold mines, people used to work up to 65 degrees Celsius. Just imagine a direct or indirect adverse effect on human body and that particular hospital. They have taken care of all the rules and regulations under the guidance of Government of India. But still, this is an important role with respect to temperature. When it comes to illumination, that is light, excessive brightness, hypo or hyper, both contributes majorly. Letharism, glare, visual fatigue, or it may lead to accidents also. Here we need to think about natural and artificial lighting also, which we'll have a discussion when we visit families in the field. We'll have a detailed discussion or we will take discussion. Next is noise. It depends upon the factors like intensity, frequency, and how much it is exposed, and even susceptibility also. When it comes to vibration, around 10 to 500 hertz is the normal expected, and you can remember something like white fingers during physical posting. We will come across all the things. Rarely we see such cases, but this is an important thing when we talk about vibration, physical hazard on particular occupation. That is spasm sensitivity seen in two users of drills or hammers. It's a common thing. When you think about the radiation, we are having different types of radiation. You can think about UV radiation in arc welding. So we call it as welders flash on ice, which is a major, it plays major role. And we can think about ionizing radiation like X-ray, emitted by X-rays, and we can think of radioactive isotopes like cobalt-60, phosphorus 32, etc. Here, genetic changes, malformation, even cancer, ulceration can be seen. So when it comes to radiation, 5 REM per year to the whole body is acceptable. This is one important MCQ frequently they ask. And we are having even atmospheric pressure plays an important role in occupational hazard. So we have discussed this one. These are some of the examples. Due to heat, we are having heat hyperplasia, heat exhaustion, heat syncope, heat cramps, burns, leaky, inert effects like increased efficiency, increased fatigue, and accidents. When it comes to cold under physical hazards, frostbite, immersion, cutaneous vasoconstrictions are common problems we come across, depending on occupation once again. And like our illumination already discussed, it may lead to high pain, strain, headache, minus nystagmus, occupation, cataract, etc. When it comes to atmospheric pressure, we are having KSM disease, air embolism, and explosions also have been reported. And when it comes to noise, we have hereditary noise, hereditary effect like hearing loss, non-hereditary like fatigue and occupational deafness. Radiation, already we have discussed, it leads to different types of cancer, including leukemia, aplastic anemia, etc. And one more important point here, under physical agents, depending on occupation, is electricity. That is, burns and shocks are expected. When it comes to chemical hazards, we are having n number of chemicals contributing for occupational hazards. Which, as all of us are aware, majority of the industries uses chemicals, definitely. Duration, quantum of exposure, and susceptibility plays important role under chemical hazards contributing to occupational hazards. When you think about chemical hazards, we have to think about different routes, that is inhalation, ingestion, skin absorption, but inhalation plays an important role. When you classify these, we are having organic and inorganic. Organic just like cotton, cane sugar, nicotine, grain dust, etc. Inorganic just like iron, silica, asbestosis, lead, mercury, arsenic, coal, phosphorus, etc. We are going to discuss in detail about the contribution of all these organic and inorganic dust later. And we have to remember aromatic hydrocarbons like benzene, toluene, phenol, etc. Just to give you an example of this benzene contribution. Now we are having unleaded petrol in petrol or fuel bulbs. So this contribution of this benzene to particular fuel industry played an important role causing leukemia. ICMR played an important role in identifying and detecting long-term and short-term adverse effects related to various hazards contributing for that particular workforce. This is the one example. Big research going on all over India with respect to this fuel industry, especially this benzene contributing in India. And we are having irritant gases like ammonia and sulfur dioxide. Coming back to biological hazards, as all of you are aware, we are having the bacteria, virus, protozoa, parasites, fungi, especially playing an important role in agricultural workers. Some of the examples for the bacteria contributing some of the diseases: tetanus, tuberculosis, anthrax, brucellosis, we call it as a milkman, and even gonorrhea. Under communicable disease chapter, we have discussion on that. You need to give priority, or you have to remember all these points what we are going to discuss under this particular chapter. And you can think of contribution of virus like hepatitis, contributing to hepatitis and AIDS. And when it comes to protozoan and parasitic contributors with respect to occupational hazards, malaria, hydrogen disease, hookworm, tapeworm plays important role. When it comes to fungi, tinea infections, coccidioidomycosis, and others contribute majorly. So this is the important aspect: mechanical hazards contributing for occupational hazard indirectly plays a big role in occupational health. Injuries like falls, cuts, abrasions, contusions are very, very common, and ergonomic disorders, like to remember this, musculoskeletal disorders, MSDs, cumulative trauma disorder, that is CTDs. This is an important aspect when you think about occupational health, and you need to remember psychosocial aspect. This is very, very important. Mental health, mental disorders plays very, very important role in occupational health. Considering that, these are some of the examples like tension, frustration, alcoholism, drug abuse, aggressiveness, and even diseases like non-communicable diseases like hypertension, diabetes, peptic ulcer, so many diseases are being monitors. This is very, very important. Here we need to remember once again employee and employer relationship plays important role. There are various factors contributing here. Even when you think about the health aspects here, even psychological and behavioral changes like anxiety, depression, even we have already mentioned about alcoholism, drug abuse, sickness, absenteeism. We'll have a discussion on sickness, absenteeism, replacement examination, periodical medical examination later. Plays an important role. Even fatigue, headache, pain, false belief, all plays an important role under psychosocial hazard. Once again, overall heat, noise, lighting, even indirectly or directly contribute for mental disorders. Now coming back to this occupational health concept, what are the aims? What are the prerequisites? So you will come across some of the issues, but considering that we will have various aims, that is prevention of diseases of the workers occurring due to working conditions, working environment. Considering this, we have to think about promotion of health and maintenance of positive health. Protection from risk due to working conditions, pre-placement examination, and appointment in the suitable worker. That is, you need to remember concept of ergonomics here once again. So these are some of the important points you need to remember for the better understanding of occupational health. These are the aims. Prevention is better than cure. Same words plays important role in preventing occupational diseases also. So you need to remember basic concept of health and diseases which have been discussed already. Same thing you can apply here in occupational health. So we will have discussion in detail, but to have an overall picture or overall idea, protection of particular workforce means directly or indirectly we are mentioning about health protection measures, that is nutrition, prevention of disease, controlling the diseases, environmental sanitation, that is focusing on hygiene, personal or environmental hygiene, And next important, give priority for mental health also, MCH care, that is with respect to mother and child health care, plays an important role. Give priority for female, avoiding gender bias, especially maternity leave or even paternity leave, pregnancy, during lactating period, antenatal care proper and postnatal care, all those plays important role. And there are set guidelines for each occupation. We are going to discuss in detail about that. And we need to focus on health awareness and small family norms. These are these small certain points for health protection measures. Try to remember all these points and we will have a discussion about that. Coming back to occupational diseases, after knowing certain points with respect to occupational hazards, once again occupational diseases, that is physical, chemical, biological, and we are having occupational cancers, occupational dermatosis, psychological origin diseases. These are the common occupational diseases. We have to discuss in detail. We will go step by step. Coming back to occupational diseases, this pneumoconiasis plays important. Exam point of view, this is very, very important. After economics, after occupational hazards, occupational diseases classification, which we have discussed just now. This is important. Pneumoconiasis, I think you will remember. So, contribution of pneumoconiasis in occupational health plays an important role. Like common problem you will face is lung fibrosis. It leads to reduction of working capacity, and some of the factors involved here as composition, especially chemical composition, and particle size, that is this size, 0.5 to 3 microns. This plays an important role. Of course, dust concentration, duration or period of exposure, and health status of that particular person exposed, age, so many factors contributes in pneumoconiasis. And of course, we are not having exact cure for this particular pneumoconiasis. Once again, we have to adapt. Prevention is better than cure, and prevention is essential. So, under pneumoconiasis, we are having a classification, that is inorganic dust and organic dust. Under organic dust, we are having coal dust, silica, asbestos, and iron. So, coal dust leads to arthrosis, silica leads to silicosis, asbestos leads to asbestosis, even cancer lung, and iron leads to cirrhosis. Coming back to organic dust, we mentioned it as a vegetable. Cane fiber, cotton dust, tobacco, hay or grain dust plays important role. Cane fiber leads to bagasosis, cotton dust leads to resinosis, tobacco causes tobaccosis, and this hay or grain dust leads to harvester. So, right side of the column, anthracosis, silicosis, asbestosis, cirrhosis, bagasosis, resinosis, tobaccosis, farmer's lung. These are all the important diseases you have to remember under occupational health, occupational diseases, which plays important role. We will have a discussion about that. Coming back to first one, that is silicosis. It's a major cause of pneumoconiasis. It leads to permanent disability and mortality. Inhalation of dust containing free silica is the main disease causing agent here. It has been reported first in polar gold mines in 1947. We are talking about the Indian scenario. And when it comes to role of silicosis in different industries, mining industry, especially coal, mica, gold and lead, even water and ceramic industries, sand blasting, metal grinding, building or construction workers, rock mining, iron exchange industry. These are the important. So, see, overall, if you see about that particular occupation involved, in Indian scenario, silicosis is crucial. Major contribution for pneumoconicis in India. Prevalence of mica mines in Bihar around 34%, or even ceramic industry contributes around 15 to 18% in pneumoconicis. And of course, duration of exposure up to 6 years or more plays an important role. N number of research have been conducted. Dust size like 0.5 to 3 microns. When it comes to pathological concept, here, dense modular fibrosis around 3 to 4 mm diameter, especially in upper part of the lungs, is the picture and confirmation of pneumoconicis under silicosis. What are the clinical features? It is insidious in onset. You will come across irritating cough, dyspnea, exertion, chest pain, impairment of local lung capacity, and very, very important, X-ray chest shows snowstorm appearance. Try to remember, snowstorm appearance is seen in silicosis under pneumoconiasis. Snowstorm appearance. And we need to think about differential diagnosis, that is silicotuberculosis. Under tuberculosis chapter, we have discussion about silicosis and silicotuberculosis diagnosis and differential diagnosis, some confusion. Simple point to remember here is X-ray chest in silicosis shows snowstorm appearance. How to prevent this? Rigorous dust control measures like substitution, complete enclosure, isolation, hydroblasting, good housekeeping, personal protective measures. These are some of the preventive measures with respect to silicosis. Regular physical examination of workers, periodical medical examination is important. Very important here. You have to notice here is silicosis under pneumoconiasis is a notifiable diseases under Practice Act 1948 and Minors Act 1952. Next, move on to anthracosis, which is seen in coal miners. These also important contributor for pneumoconicis. We are having two phases here: simple pneumoconicis and progressive massive fibrosis. Under simple pneumoconicis, lung ventilatory impairment, depending on duration of exposure, up to 20 years, is commonly seen among coal miners. When it comes to progressive massive fibrosis, severe respiratory disability, development of simple pneumoconicis, SP, that is simple pneumoconicis, without further exposure, this is also important. So these are the two phases under anthracosis. Once again, it is a notable diseases under Mines Act. Workman Compensation Act. Try to remember some of the acts. And next one is bisonosis. Inhalation of cotton fiber. Cotton fiber inhalation leads to bisonosis. BYSSINOSIS. For a long period, and once again chronic cough, progressive dyspnea, chronic bronchitis, emphysema. These are the important clinical features. Prevalence around 7 to 8% in textile industries have been reported in various places, including Bombay, Ahmedabad, and Delhi. Now, this particular industry, especially cotton textile industry, played an important role and contribution in India, which is scattered all over the world. And when it comes to cotton fiber inhalation, that is bisonosis, even farmers and agriculture played an important role, especially in India. Coming back to bagasosis, that is inhalation of bagasse or sugar cane dust. So sugar cane dust inhalation leads to bagasosis. It is utilized in the manufacture of paper cardboard or rayon. First reported by Ganguly and Paul in 1955 in a cardboard manufacturing factory near Calcutta. This is the Indian scenario. What is the disease causing agent here? When you look at that particular thing, thermoactinomyces. This is the important thing. When it comes to clinical features, breathlessness, cough, hemoptysis, light fever, acute kidneys, bronchiolitis plays important role. When it comes to investigation, typical finding, X-ray test shows mottling in lung field. Impairment in lung function, there is one more contribution in detecting phagocytosis and in sugarcane industry or cardboard or iron industry. Proper treatment plays an important role. It may lead to diffuse fibrosis, emphysema, bronchiolitis under medicine and ENT. Subject, they are going to explain a little bit more with respect to all these diseases. How to prevent? Once again, dust control by wet process, enclosed apparatus or proper ventilation, especially exhaust ventilation depending on particular occupation. And important thing is personal protection measures like mask wearing, mask and respirators, medical control, that is having a good medical setup or team for proper medical examination or to have first aid facility and routine periodical medical checkups. Moisture content above 20% and spraying with 2% propionic acid, that is fungicide. These are the important precautions. Set guidelines have been given and they are followed all over. Coming back to asbestosis, it's a fibrous material, silicates of magnesium, iron, calcium, sodium and aluminum. We are having the serpentine or chrysolite variety. 90% of the world production is based on this particular amphibole, little magnesium, and we are having the different protidolite, amosite, anthophyllite, etc. And important is 20 to 500 microns in length and 0.5 to 50 microns in diameter is crucial in asbestos contribution. It is used in the manufacture of asbestos cement industry, fiber textiles, roof tiling, brake lining, gasket and other industry, and especially it is mined in KP and Bihar, Karnataka, Rajasthan, and even imported from different part of the world. Inhalation route is important here. Pulmonary fibrosis, respiratory insufficiency, carcinoma of bronchus, mesothelioma of pleura, even cancer is contributed. And research with respect to this, UK an association between mesothelia and living within of mind has been reported. Higher risk for bronchial cancer if exposure is combined with cigarette smoking. Also from the areas of research have been reported. And around once again, duration of exposure plays important role in many occupation. Here also under pneumoconiosis, that anthracosis, around more than 5 years of exposure may lead to this particular disease. Fibrosis is common. Probably you come across diaphragmatic irritation and you will come across bronchial diffuse and basal concept here. And important thing is what are the difference between each category or type under pneumoconiosis. Just focus on these two, this is important, asbestosis and silicosis. In asbestosis, diffuse fibrosis will be seen. In silicosis, nodular fibrosis. In asbestosis, basal part of the lung and X-ray test shows ground glass appearance, whereas in silicosis, upper part of the lungs are involved and X-ray test shows snowstorm appearance. Once again I am repeating, in silicosis, X-ray test shows no storm appearance, whereas in asbestosis it shows ground glass appearance. These are the important differences for these particular diseases. Coming back to clinical features, display out of proportion to clinical signs, jumping up in the cardiac distress, cyanosis. Once established, disease is progressive and sputum shows asbestos bodies. How to prevent? Use of safer types of asbestosis, substitution, rigorous dust control, periodic examination of workers, and biological monitoring by means of clinical taking X-ray, early diagnosis, and early investigation, and LFT. Lot of research has to be done in respect to this. And next one is farmers' land. As I mentioned, India depends on agricultural industries. 70% of the population in India living in rural areas. Inhalation of mold hair drainage, which I have already discussed. Moisture over 30%. Micropolyspora pain is the important agent contributing for farmers' land. Acute illness like general and respiratory symptoms and physical signs you come across under this particular disease. Repeated attacks leads to pulmonary fibrosis and pulmonary damage, that is called pulmonary. These are the brief thing about farmers' land. So we are discussing and about occupational diseases. Under that, pneumoconiosis, different types of pneumoconiosis. This is almost the end of occupational diseases under pneumoconiosis farmers' land. We need to remember those things. Before telling thank you, so we have to brush up all the things what you have done. Today we started with occupational chapter, brief introduction and the contributors or history for this particular occupational health have been discussed, and followed by ergonomics, occupational environment, occupational health concept, and followed by occupational hazards, various occupational hazards, physical, chemical, biological, mechanical. We have discussed about all the things. And later we discussed about occupational diseases, classification, and today we focused on pneumoconiasis under occupational diseases. And we will farmers' land for that particular agriculture group. So lot of MCQs, short notes, short essays, and even during Viva you will come across various questions. You need to focus on that, and some of the references for this particular occupational health chapter as undergraduates can focus on Donald Hunter, The Diseases of Occupation, 1862, important book. And you can refer WHO TRS Technical Report Series 66, 246, and etc. And we are having WHO Chronicles, and we are having ILO, that is Indian Labour Organization, International Labour Organization during 1967. We are having volume 1 and volume 2. You can go through all those things, encyclopedia of ILO. And even you can browse Government of India website or ROHC, Regional Occupation Health, main branch situated in Ahmedabad, and we are having in Bangalore, ROHC South, contributing majorly. And you can browse even www.esic.nic.in, that is with respect to ESI employees, facilities available in ESL hospitals, ESL setup. We'll have a discussion about all those things. So this is a brief discussion to start about occupational health chapter. We'll continue remaining portion in coming classes. That will be next week, I think, Tuesday morning, 9:30. And try to read, brush up this chapter also. And next class, assignment, classification of occupational is important. So, have a nice day. Thank you for hearing this particular chapter. Take care. Stay safe. Thank you.